In this video, I'm going to talk about whether one should memorize the Quran or if they should read the Quran and see which is better. Now, the Quran means reading or recitation. That is the literal meaning of the word Quran. So it's not a name. Well, it is a name, but it also has a meaning. But what exactly is the Quran? I mean, according to verse 2 of chapter 2, we read, "This is the book about which there is no doubt, a guidance for those conscious of God." And so the key word here is guidance. So the Quran can be summarized as a book of guidance. In verse 24 of chapter 47, we read, "Then do they not study, think deeply about, understand the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts?" And the key word here is yatadabbaruna, which doesn't just mean think about, but it actually has a deeper meaning than that. It means to study and to reflect upon and to really understand the Quran. And so the Quran should be studied and understood, not just read. Now, as I've said earlier, the Quran is a book of guidance, and obviously guidance can only be achieved if you understand the Quran. Memorizing it without understanding it, there's no way that could guide you, because if you don't understand what you've memorized, then how could you possibly be guided? Now, to conclude, we can safely say that based on the verse we just saw in the Quran, reading and understanding and thinking deeply about the Quran is a requirement. Whereas memorizing the Quran, that can be considered optional, because nowhere in the Quran does it tell you to memorize the Quran. Of course, it doesn't hurt to memorize it, but if you had to choose between the two, obviously understanding the Quran would take precedence, as the Quran indicates that you should understand it. And like I said, being a book of guidance, the only way you can be guided is if you understand it. Now, I've seen, just from my own personal experience, many people spending a lot of time memorizing the Quran. They are encouraged, their parents encourage them from a young age to attend certain Islamic schools where all they do is just sit and memorize the Quran every day. Now, these people, for the most part, I would say, are not native Arabic speakers, because, well, as you know, now most Muslims in the world are non-native Arabic speakers. But they seem to think that memorizing or reading the Quran in Arabic is more important than actually understanding what the Quran says. And so I'd argue that memorizing the Quran is definitely secondary to understanding the Quran. One should make an effort to understand the Quran themselves, and not just blindly follow what their community practices or what certain scholars tell them to do. Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to be notified of more, hit the subscribe button.